And now I'm talking to Naomi Lennon from Docus. Naomi, how's it going? Naomi, could you tell us the view of Docus on the general election on Friday, please?
Hi Darren, thanks for having us on the programme. Yeah, we're just days away now, as you know, from one of the most hotly contested elections. The general election is on Friday. People go to the polls at that stage. And I suppose we're just, we're all looking forward to seeing who the next government will be. And, I think what we're seeing as well is, so many Irish people, there's such a strong tradition in Ireland of people working for global justice and being involved in global justice issues. So we're just really looking forward to seeing what the new commitments of the new government will be in that vein.
Are you running a general election campaign, like specifically on the election? And could you tell us, should we be, in your view, happy with the amount of funding the last Irish government gave for international aid?
So firstly, on the election, what we have done is Docus has engaged with each of the political parties since last year. As we know, we were expecting a general election in November of last year. So we got started around August, and we met with and spoke with all the different election parties, or all the different parties running for election. And we really talked to them about the issues that matter in terms of international development and development issues at large. And, really, really talked to them about the importance of aid and of development work. And we issued a manifesto to those parties then, which you can find on our Docus website. If you go to docus.ie/blogs, there you can find it there. And you can also find, we have looked at each of the party manifestos that have come out since the election was announced. All of the different candidates that are running have said, their commitments to the fight against climate change and global poverty. So you can see on that blog as well, we've gone through, Fiona Coyle, who I know you'll be speaking to, has gone through all of those party manifestos, because really just to break down that information. As we know in elections, there's so much information out there, it can be information overload. So just distilling that information to look at what exactly each party is committing to in their manifestos. So really, you asked as well about the overseas aid budget. For the first time in a long time last year, in the October budget, we saw an increase in ODA. So that was a very welcomed move in terms of the development sector. So we're now looking at a situation where we're on 0.36% of GNP. So obviously, there's still a long way to go. Ireland has made a commitment to give 0.7% of its GNP to overseas aid. So we still have a way to go in that respect, and we hope and we trust that the next government, as they form a programme for government in the coming weeks, that they'll really put that strong tradition that Ireland has in international development at the core of their manifestos.
Okay, Enda Kenny spoke at the launch of the Global Goals for Sustainable Development, or Sustainable Development Goals, in New York a few months ago, and Sean Sherlock, the outgoing Minister of State for International Development, was very involved in the process. Ireland co-facilitated the whole process, as you know yourself. Do you think that the last Irish government took the Sustainable Development Goals seriously? And what would you say about their importance or value generally for the incoming Irish government?
So last year was a very exciting year for Ireland and for the world. As you mentioned there, the Sustainable Development Goals were agreed upon. It was a huge process that civil society was very involved in, and the Docus membership was involved in inputting into that process, which was a global, worldwide process at all levels. And as you mentioned, with David Donoghue representing Ireland and Kenya co-facilitated that process at a UN level. So that's how seriously we've taken it as a country, and I think Ireland can be very proud to have been involved at that level in such an important, momentous agreement for the world. So I think Ireland can be very proud of that. And the global goals for the Sustainable Development Goals are really a set of targets. They're looking at this ultimate goal to end extreme poverty and tackle climate change within the next 15 years, which is an ambitious goal, but I think, at the moment we really see that that appetite for collective action and positive change, and we really need to move forward, and we know that the new government, we know that they will keep that at the core of what they're doing.
How many years is it planned to be? Like 50 years, is that what you said?
So it's in the next 15 years, so by the
15,
year
I thought
2030.
50.
So
Yeah.
so a very short time frame. But I think what we saw in the momentum of those agreements last year is that there's a real commitment there to take on these sustainable development goals and to ultimately achieve that goal in the next 15 years.
Okay, finally, what is your message to our listeners on the general election, and indeed to the next Irish government, who should be installed by next month?
I think really what we would encourage people to do is to keep seeing themselves not only as Irish citizens voting in an Irish election, but as global citizens. We're all global citizens. The world is a very interconnected place, as we all know, and we in international development and development at large, we work so closely with other countries every day, and I think really to keep that in mind as we go to the polls on Friday, and to really keep the global justice issues to the forefront of people's minds, as well as local issues.
Okay, Naomi, thanks very much.
Thanks, Darren. Thank you.